Greetings, Internet. Welcome to Aaron Plays, and I hope you're doing fantastically well. This will be my continuation of Band of Brothers Scenario 20 from Ghost Panzer. I'm doing just turn 4, and that's as far as currently, when this video is released, where me and my opponent up to. We're just about to start turn 5. Also, an update. There's a heavy box. This arrived in the post recently. That side. Yeah, that's probably better. That side. There we go. Yeah. I have opened it. It's chocker full. I've now obviously got the latest rules, 2.3 sitting here next to me. And yeah, very happy. Very happy indeed. And I hope to bring one of those scenarios to the channel in the near future. Maybe after this one, if Pierre is up for it. I haven't even asked him yet, so I'll ask him. Well, here we go. So let's go down to the map. Oh, do remember the housekeeping. If you do like the video, remember to do the like button. Subscribe if you haven't done so already, and any comments much appreciated. Also, I mean, I'll sort of have to remind you about the bell. You know, if you click the bell button every time I do an update or a new video, it will alert you. Other than that, let's go down to the map. Okay, so still it's obviously using Vassal, because I was using Vassal in the first 3 turns. And all right, a lot more action happens in this 4th turn because the Soviet reinforcements arrive. I've zoomed right out so you can see the overall map. I will zoom in as we start to play. But the victory conditions, just a reminder, is this board here has got to be cleared of Soviet infantry and anti-tank guns for the Germans to win. Vehicles don't count. So even if we've got 2 or 3 tanks in there, doesn't matter as long as he wipes out the infantry. And to be honest, the infantry for the Soviets, are shockingly bad. And that's really a feature of this whole module. Real elite Germans fighting really trashy Russians, but a lot of them. So yeah. There's nothing real else to add. So we've got 22. Let me bring up the scenario chart just as a reminder. That's what we're playing. The bloody triangle. It is turn 4. We're going into Soviet reinforcements. I'm bringing on a T-34, 2 T-26s, and 5 squads. The Germans are fully on the map. Okay, let's close that down. Let's zoom in. I've combined all of our logs. There'll be some back and forth because that's what happens when you're playing play by email. There is back and forth, and I can't really eradicate them while I'm going through the logs to make a concise log. Also, we're not using the Vassal dice. We're using Axe War Horse Simulations die roll, which emails us the die results. So you won't see the results on here, but I will narrate what's happened as we go through. So let's see where we start. Okay, the first thing he does is he brings some off-board artillery. That will cost him 3 of his available between 3 and 9 op points to do. So one of these guys spotted for it. He then rolls. Now let's just bring that up on the scenario card again. Okay, he's got proficiency of 8 and accuracy of 7. Now I am seeing the rolls on the axe. He's not bringing the details up here, but it did land successfully. He said request 10-sided dice times 3. Message from Pierre, blah blah blah. Okay, let's now zoom in on that particular area as that's where he's starting. There it is. Okay, it was accurate, landed in place, and yeah, these 2 are suppressed. He then continues to fire, this time with his weapons team. This guy here. Let's go back on that. There you go. You see the weapons team firing. And they would have a fire value of 8 and done. So I then revealed what's down the bottom there and the effects, and he's now found the anti-tank gun. And this is where I make a sort of observation. There it is, and as I said in my last email, I thought I'd be able to set its facing once concealment is removed. but that is not so. No, that was a mistake of mine. That's from fields, no, fighting formations, where concealed units set their facing once they're revealed. It's not the case in here. Though, as you'll see, I think it should be. Bit silly though, if you do so, it's facing anywhere other than straight, the opponent knows it's an anti-tank gun. So if I did face this unit to the side and concealed, so let's rotate that counterclockwise. Okay, so it's facing Hakesmire. You instantly know it's an anti-tank gun because obviously it's different from all the infantry. I mean, true, you could set all the infantry facing that way, but even then, your opponent knows your covered arc is that hex and that hex, doesn't he? So it's a bit, I don't like that. And I've suggested maybe use a note in the future. We have got notes on here. There it is. Set a note showing right in the covered up what you would do in ASL. Though in ASL you'd have it as hip. Makes my anti-tank useless. Okay. I then said I was going to fire his Panzer II, but I didn't have line of sight there anyway. Anyways, I'd made the mistake. So, and they were suppressed and continuing done. Right. So I said, okay, so now pass it back to me, bring on some infantry. Now they're moving along the road, so each road hex is only 2/3. So you'll see 2/3, 4/6, 6/6, or 2 movement factors. So eventually you get an extra hex for every 2 hexes you move along the road, you get a third one. And now I bring on the T-34, the beast. And I bring him on up here. So he's got a Panzer II. Now, I'm not really concerned about the Panzer II versus the T-34. Let's see why I'm not too concerned. Right, so if I bring him up, he's got a frontal armor of 7. That's the little white numbers below the red numbers. Frontal armor of 7, side armor of 4. Okay, whereas he's got a, looking at the red numbers, which are the to hit, well, to kill numbers, he's only got a 4, because it's only a 20 mil pop gun, isn't it? Against that, so he can't get through the front armor. So I'm not concerned about that. What I am concerned about is this beast down here. He's 88 and is 45. Okay. I'm not sure where they can see along here. Probably this side, or hopefully not this side of the hill. Anyway, let's bring the T-34 on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then going up the hill costs a bit more. 10, facing change, 11 to change, sorry, 11 to change facing. And then I'll fire at the Panzer II. I don't have much chance here because my proficiency is that number at the start at the bottom is 5. So I need to roll 5 or less on a D10 to be even able to fire. And I want a +4 modifier for moving to a new hex. Soviet tanks are not very good for moving and firing. Whereas the Germans, look at his proficiency of 9. If he moves, he'll still be able to fire with that +4 on a 5 or less. 50% of the time, I will fire 10% of the time if I move. Not good. So I'll pass back just in case there is any op fire. Okay, he declared that there was no op fire. We did that by an email. Okay, let's see if I get lucky. So I need 1 out of 10. T-34 fires on the Panzer II, proficiency of 5, -4 for moving, equals a 1. Put it into the axe. It rolled a 1. I was like, so then the kill number is 8. All right, so we're now looking at my red numbers at the top there. 8 is against armor, 9 is against infantry. To kill is 8, +1 adjacent, +1 the rear shot coming in the back. Armor is 9. All right, to kill is 8, +1 adjacent, +1 rear shot is equals 9. Should actually equal 10, but there we go. Yeah. My maths didn't work there, but it doesn't matter because I rolled an 8, which was enough to go through. KO. Took out the Panzer II. I was over the moon at that one. What little was I to know, he says, given a little bit of foreshadowing, that I was about as lucky as I get through the whole of this turn. In fact, I think I used all my turn's luck on that particular shot. Okay. He's now, and then I'm marking a couple of units with op fire and passing it back. He went no comment on that one, which I don't blame him. 10% chance. Yeah, came off. And then he says he can't say he likes now being in the open, which I can quite understand up here, because next turn this guy could then start turning around and popping shots off at these guys, which will not be very pleasant for his infantry in the open. And he says, I can't stay like that in the open, so he moves forward. And I would like to say very, very aggressively. 2, 3, 4, 5. And if I survive, I fire at something, he says. Okay. So I went high. We'll op fire from 12C7, which is this dude here. So there'll be, I know you can't see him now. I op fired when he was in that hex there. Firepower 1 plus 4 open ground equals 5. Okay, what did I roll? A 7. So they are then marked as used. That's a miss. I should have marked them as used. Yeah, there we go. I'll have to fire there too. So I reveal another unit. So now this is where throughout I was making a bit of a mistake. It was only brought up towards the end of the turn that when you fire adjacent, you get a +3. I missed that one, but I don't think it really had an effect on my. Well, we'll see. So fire +1, +4 open ground, +1 adjacent. It should be my. This is where it's a little bit. My proficiency firepower is 1 on the counter. Let's have a look at it. Okay. So that 4/1, his proficiency firepower is 1. He then gets a modifier +1 to that because the enemy is adjacent. So that'll make it 2, his proficiency firepower. Then he gets the modifiers +4 for open ground and +3 for firing on an adjacent hex. So he would have been on +7 to 2. That should have been a 9. 4. And 1 + 4 is, hold on, 2 + 4 is 6. 7, 8, 9. Yeah, a 9. Roll a 10. Or a D10. As I said, I missed that. And going back through it when I was making this up to be presented to you guys, I went, it made no difference anyway. The Soviet infantry begin to panic. Yeah. Play that again. Okay, if I survive, I fire at something. Boom! So I passed it back. Germans firing from there to there. Hit the man with a margin of 5. Looks like it's been my turn to get lucky. Yes. So my guys fire at him in the open with grenades and everything. Missed him. Him firing, running and firing into a stone building. He actually takes my squad down a peg, fully suppresses it. I was thinking, it's not nice. As he says, his turn to get lucky. And they move into the building, spending a command point to do that. Gives them an extra movement point. He fires on the. So I then say to him, I'm going to fire with my suppressed weapons team when he was back here, still moving in the open. Had to pass a morale check of 2. Either 2, roll of 7. So they failed the morale check and a mark used. Used the CP to move in there. Yeah, unfortunately you did. All right, so continue stepping through. Firepower 5 plus minus Jason is 2. And Vauxhall. See, again, I'm missing it for him as well. Roll of 7, missed. Passing back. Okay, and I missed another rule, which is final op fire, which I will take advantage of soon. But you see, he's just running rampant, and there's just not much I can do. All right, actually, that gun's facing the wrong way now, isn't it? Because I was giving my example. Oh, well, doesn't matter. It's not going to do anything. Um, Firing on it. Okay. You're quite correct. I had forgotten about the final protective fire. I'll take those opportunities. Thanks. So that unit doing final protective fire, 5.1, plus adjacents, -2 for final op fire, building and such forth as low as it can go. I rolled a 9. So again, I've been forgetting the +3 being adjacent, and it's not been relevant because my rolls are so bad. Um, So back to his log where he was moving forward. I'll try and fire with the anti-tank gun. Now remember, the anti-tank gun is actually facing uh, that way. I was just using that facing to show an example. So I'm going to try. I need to pass a morale check. Roll morale of 6. Roll of 3 means they can fire. Proficiency of 8. So you can see they've got a proficiency of 8. -2 for up fire equals 6. To be able to get a shot off. Roll a 9. So they go, yeah, we'll fire. Oh, fired way somewhere else. Missed. Germans firing on them. And let's resolve the shot. No, he could miss too, apparently. Another 5. No, trying to slow him down here. Passing morale checks, but then just firing wildly into the air. And can my gun final fire? It can. Yes. Must test morale again. Morale of 6, rolls a 9, so he doesn't final fire either. Final opportunity fire, final fire, that's squad leader or ASL. Okay, so I then said your firepower is 5 plus 1 adjacent, -2 stone building, 4. In actual fact, that should have been firepower 5 plus 1 for adjacent, increases firepower 6, -2 for stone building, and then +4, +3 for adjacent. Didn't matter. He rolled a 1. Who's getting lucky now? And I say he rolled one. I'm actually rolling these dice by pressing the button on the Warhorse simulations thing. So it seems to like him. But I put German information into the thing, and it doesn't like it when I put Russian information. Obviously, it's not. It's just a random number generator, isn't it? And my gun is eliminated straight off by that shot. Boom. So that was very effective, wasn't it? So continuing through the log. Nation remark is used. All right. I think that's everything on that side. So everything now will be on this side. What's he going to do next? I was marking some units with op fire, getting ready for the southern attack, and then passing back. Okay, so he's now doing some firing. That's the weapons team firing at my guy there. And just scrolling through some fire. And then the inevitable brave move here. All right, so there's a little, and he's going to give an extra movement point so they can go into close combat with my weapons team. So I've got to resolve all this. So I'll reveal a concealed unit to fire at him, which is this guy here. Firepower 1, +1 op fire. Okay. +4 for moving the open. Needs a 6. 6. 60% chance. Rolls an eye. The poo dice continue. Okay. The weapon team will try and fire. Need to pass a 2 morale test. Roll a 3. So close. Okay, we'll try the reduced squad, which is from here, to fire at him. We've got to pass morale check. Morale of 4, roll a 10. Nope, they're not interested. So, one more desperate shot from these guys here. Firepower 1 plus 4 for open ground. Roll of a 2. Suppressed him. Now remember, he's going to spend a command point. I also have a final op fire attempt with the weapon team because he's in adjacent hex. Morale 2, rolls a 10, so fail. He then says, oh, we can spend a CP to assault into weapons team in. C provides +1 movement point. Okay, and back to you. Like I say, okay, well, pass back in case your plans have changed after that suppression. Remember, this is a slight downside of playing by email. Logs are going back and forth. That will have changed now that I've suppressed him. Morale check passed, so he will go into that hex. So they passed. They needed a 6 or less. He rolled that, so they enter that hex to go into close combat. All right, bring in on another tank. Well, Tin Can T-26, and there he goes. Now, I don't know if he's safe along here, but I've got to get towards where his infantry are now. If he gets there, then could you do a proficiency check? And he wants to fire on your weapons team. Remember, his proficiency is 5, so he's only got a 10% chance. But that's what the T-34 rolled. I've asked him to go and resolve that. He now thinks there's a line of sight from his 37mm anti-tank gun. Okay, and there is. You can see he's straight along that red line to when I went to enter that hex there. Okay, range 23. Proficiency fails with a 7. Okay, I'm just going to go through what he needed there. So his proficiency rating there is a 9. He needs to roll a 9 to be able to get that shot off. So let's go through this here. Gun and vehicle proficiency. All right. Must check proficiency before firing in the following cases. There is only one check, but modifiers are cumulative to that of the proficiency rating. If firing at a target greater than 5 hexes away. So if you're firing at less than 5 hexes, no proficiency check is required for this particular case. But he was firing at 23 hexes, so greater than 20 hexes is -2. Greater than 30 hexes is -3. If target marks move or firing using op fire, which he is, which is -2. So he's now on -2 for 20 hexes, and he's using op fire, -4. If he'd been marked with an op fire counter, which he isn't, and I don't think anything else had effects. He had a -4 on his 9, so he needed a 5 to pull that shot off. And as he says, he rolled a 7. So that was a miss. You could take that miss was either, was it a missed the target, or they just didn't see the target, or whatever. That's what the proficiency rating is. What it actually was in detail doesn't really matter. They just did not get that shot off effectively. Back to my guy moving. As I say, there will be a bit of back and forth because we're exchanging logs. And he rolled my proficiency, and a 1, it was a miss. And I went, oh, I thought I was safe. Glad that was not the 88, even though that wouldn't have really made much difference. If it had been the 88, their proficiency was 9, he would have missed with them anyway. But if he had have hit, it would have been 6 going through the front armor. If he'd hit with the 88, it's 15 going through the front armor. The front armor on a T-26 is a measly 2. So, yeah, would have a chance against the 37. Not much of a chance against an 88. 15 take away 2 is 13 on a D10. However, I think a 10 is always a dud. So I could check that. I might have to double check that. I know a 10 on a proficiency is always a fail, but I'm not sure about the penetration. Okay. And we're still going over that shot. So I'm going, phew, he missed. Right, continue my movement. I say this is where the logs were a bit crossed, but it's resolved it. Bringing on some more of my wonderful troops along the road there. And on they come. Essentially, hopefully, to reinforce the village. All right, so he's now going to close the distance, and I say he's only got stuff down here. And here they come. Let's get close. The Germans firing from there to there, and assault fire if possible. So now I just say he's now taking the P, you know. So I do reveal my guy. So firepower 1, +1 for op fire, +4 for moving the open. Firepower 6, again, it's a 60% chance, and I rolled a 4. Yay! Suppress them. He then fires back. The assault fire here if possible. Their morale is 6. The roll is 4, so they're keen to fire. Firepower 5, -1 for the building is 4. Sorry, firepower 5, -1 for the building. Yeah, it's 4. He needs a 4. Roll is a 1, which is enough to flip my guy because my casualty rating was only 3. So I suppress him. He fully suppresses and kills off my squad. He says, I have a feeling my luck won't last. God blimey. I say, all my luck was in that original shot from my T-34. After that, absolute tosh. Here he comes again. And I made it this far. Remember to find an op fire. I assault fire at the adjacent unit at +3. Okay. Then I would try my luck there. Bringing him on again. Same thing. Okay, time to use my command point. I'm going to fire my unit from there to when his squad was in that hex. Roll of 4, needed a 3, that's a miss. Need to pass a 1 morale check to fire. Roll of 4, so no, you're shot. Firing into there, into an adjacent hex. He rolls a 2. My guy's eliminated. Yeah, Russians are falling like flies. Another success. Okay, just going back over that move there. Assault fire possible. Let's try some final fire. Morale 4. Your assault fire 5 +3 adjacent -1 for the building. Suppresses me completely. All over here. Okay. Now, this is a rule. He checked some line of fires here during the game before actually firing. You're not allowed to do that, and I did mention that. By the rules, you're not allowed to check line of sight whilst in play. Only for gain or loss and concealment. Main reason I did not enter the board concealed so that you did not get a free line of sight check. Anyways, moving on. Bringing on my last tanky. Same route. Needs to want to fire his weapon teams again, rolls a 9. All right. He says he forgot. And I understand that. I forget so many rules. So he tries a shot with the 88. Back into the hex. Range of 23. There is a clear line of sight. So it's like, oh dear. Again, he needs that 5. Just within my arc of fire. And he fails the roll, which was good. Again, the crossover. And now he's moving the Panzer IV. Failed his proficiency check as well because he's moving. So I'm going back over that shot. It was a very close line of fire shot. Basically going back over with my vehicle. Okay, use of Soviet tank crew missing that shot. And as I say, because we went back on it, it's going back on the Panzer IV. So now we'll have a look at detail. He's trying to fire on one of my tanks. He's got proficiency of 8 and at range. There we go. He's firing at that range of 18. So going back over on the chart with an 18, he'd have got -1 for range, and he's moving. If firing after turning or after moving to a new hex is -4, so it's -5. He would have been on, so he needed a 4 or less. Oh, he's at 8, so he needed a 3 or less, so he probably didn't get that. Failed. Oh, and I was a moving target, so he needed a 2. Roll of 2. I notice adding the info for when I do an episode on this turn, so I can remember what was rolled, because he's not putting the roll. I'm putting the rolls in the log. Unfortunately, he's not mentioning them in the log, so I'm going to have to start doing that. That's his choice, and he then says I can finish the turn because it's the last bits of information. Troops to move. All of his guys have gone, so I have a few more infantry to bring in. I know these are safe because he's got no command points left. There was only showing one in there. I know he used 2. And I've got a few. I'm needing to reinforce the southern front, I feel, because I've got tanks up the top there. Couple of shots. Guess what they do? They all miss. Look at that one. 587. No modifier. Roll a 9. Yeah, I can't hit a barn door from 2 paces. Okay, so we're going to route phase. In the route phase, units take morale checks if they are suppressed or fully suppressed, if they're adjacent to an enemy, or if they're in line of sight and within 5 hexes of an enemy and are in the open. And there's another situation, but those are the 2 that are going to come into effect here. And it's determined the person who goes first in the turn, which is the Germans, have to test first for route phase. Your units test first. Your unit in the melee, which is over here, it has a morale of 6. It's got yellow suppression. Rolls an 8, so he fails. And that basically eliminates him. What is actually happening, you can't route adjacent to an enemy unit. So they would actually fall to there and then get eliminated because he's now adjacent to a unit that's not in melee. If he had had 2 German units in there, he'd have been fine because you cannot route adjacent to an enemy in that's not in melee. So they are eliminated. So my guy doesn't have to test there. It's clarified in the notes and the rules. He's okay because I have no unit within 5 hectares and line of sight. So I have 2 units that need to test. These guys and these guys, because they're adjacent to an enemy that's not in melee. Testing that one first. Morale check of 1. Eliminated on a roll of 10. They roll a 10. Not even close. That guy there, eliminated on a roll of 9. I can't roll a lot lower than 9s, can I? Seems like axe dice are rolling high tonight when I was doing these turns. Melee phase, well, because his unit was eliminated, there is none. Okay. We then go cleanup phase. So his units that was suppressed are now non-suppressed. Mine that was super suppressed or fully suppressed is now become just suppressed. Okay, so that's the end of the of turn 4. Okay, so he's got 4 German squads up here with a weapon team. He has 4 German squads down here and a weapon team. So it's 8 squads, 2 weapon teams, 2 anti-tank guns, and 1 tank remaining. I have in the village 1, 2, 3, 4, and some concealed guys. I'm not going to tell you what they are. And 1, 2, 3 weapon teams. Also, I've got 5 squads coming on, and I've got 1 and maybe another one there to try and get back into the village. And I've got 3 tanks. So the first thing I've got, turn 5 would be, I think I mentioned it in the log, I will not spend a CP to go first. I could spend my one and only command point to take something first. I know that this guy will probably take a shot at that guy. I'm hoping because of the distance, it'll be either a 7, maybe a 6 that he needs to hit me. So I don't want, because for me to hit him, I'll probably need a 3. So I'm hoping that he doesn't get the die roll, because if he does, there's not much chance that tank will survive. But then hopefully I can do something with my infantry to get into the village. We shall see. That will be in the next video. Let me go back up to the top. Okay, so quite an action-filled turn. Panzer II being knocked out, anti-tank being knocked out, lots of Soviet infantry can't shoot for toffee. Germans being immaculate with their morale, though they pushed it a little bit too far when they went into melee when they were suppressed. Maybe you shouldn't have done that, but he did. They failed the morale check and are eliminated. So losses on both sides. All I can say is I hope my dice are going to be better in turn 5, or he's less effective in turn 5. Who knows? We shall see. If you like that, please do the like, subscribe if you haven't done so already. Any comments much appreciated. Cool. Hit the notification bell for any uploads. If you'd like to become a member of the channel, it's in the description below. It all helps spread the word out there and also gets people to see my, what I'm actually doing. Until next time though, play games, have fun. Bye internet.